I am Life Coach Latricia Booker with Kingdom Business, where we are empowered, where we heal, get delivered, and get free. We know who we are. We elevate our minds and our spirits, and it raise and expand our consciousness to ultimately walk in our true divine purpose. That is the truth of who we really are, who we truly are in God. And so in this video, I want to talk to you about things to avoid saying while you are manifesting. And so the first thing we want to keep in mind is when we are manifesting, we want to only say the positive words. We want to speak out the positive, the affirmative. We are affirming that we are desiring to manifest, and therefore that is what we want to speak. So in other words, you don't want to speak what you don't want. You don't want to speak the opposite of what it is you're wanting. You do not want to speak the negative side of what you're wanting to manifest. And when you are careful with your words, and when you are making sure that you're saying the positive, the affirmative, you are intensifying that. You are putting that into the atmosphere. That is what you're manifesting. But when you begin to speak the opposite of what you want, even in saying that's not what you want, the universe still hears what you're speaking. Therefore, it doesn't know that that's not what you want. It's just going to bring that to you because that's all it hears. It has no consciousness of whether this is something you are desiring or you don't desire. All it knows is what you're speaking. And so what I mean by that is this. Let's say you're wanting to improve your life. You don't want to be without financial security, or should I say, you want to be wealthy. So when you want to be wealthy and you're desiring to manifest wealth, you have to speak wealthy. You have to say, I am wealthy. You have to say things like, I am a multimillionaire. I am a billionaire. Whatever your desires are, however far you can see, however far you want, you can have just that. But you have to make sure that your speech, what you're speaking and what you're affirming is in alignment with what it is that you're wanting. So a few words that I know that can interfere with your manifestations when you're desiring more money or wealth is you want to be careful about saying, I'm broke. Someone may ask you to borrow money. You want to refrain from saying, I'm broke, or even, I don't have any money, because that's the negative. You're speaking exactly what you don't want. So all the universe hears is you don't have money or you're broke. So it's going to continue to give you just what you're speaking, being broke. You want to refrain from saying, I'm poor. You never want to say, I'm poor. Even if you are, you want to speak, I am wealthy. I have more than enough. I have an overflow of wealth. I have an abundance of money. Money attracts to me. Money loves me. Money comes to me regularly and frequently in large sums. You want to speak and affirm those things that you are desiring concerning money. Again, be careful about saying, I'm broke. I don't have any money. There's never enough. And this is the other part of that. Someone may ask you for something and you may not have it to give. Words that you can use instead of saying, I'm broke, I don't have it, you may want to say, I can't do that right now. One of my favorite ones is, that's not in my budget. Or better yet, because even when you're saying that's not in my budget, that's what you're speaking, that it's not in your budget. What I actually learned to say, I used to say it's not in my budget, but then I noticed I had to bump it up because I was still speaking the opposite of what I wanted. So I would say, I'm working that in my budget. So see the difference? Instead of saying it's not in your budget or you don't have it, you're saying, I'm working that in my budget. meaning I'm making that happen. I'm looking at the way I need to rearrange my finances or whatever it is I need to do to include it in my budget. And so that's just one of the ways that you can assure yourself that you are speaking the right things, that you are affirming what it is that you're wanting and desiring and wanting to manifest, or should I say are manifesting. And so another thing I've recently had to take into consideration for myself. You know how we aware of negative things, negative people. So we have the tendency to say, stay away from negative people, stay away from toxic people, remove yourself from anything that's negative. You know, I have a thing lately, I've been having to deal with myself and affirm myself from avoiding negative thinking and negative thoughts. And so what I do is, even if I mention negative, I'm free of all negative thoughts. I'm free of all toxic thoughts. I don't want to stay on that um on that on that journey, so to speak, or keep that idea going. I switch off to, I only think positive thoughts. I only give my attention to positive thinking. I only entertain and engage positive people. Only positive people can come in my life. Instead of saying negative, I do not think negative thoughts. I do not give my attention to negative thinking. Instead of focusing on the negative, pointing out the negative, switch it around and speak the positive. Now, again, even if I start off or within all of that, speak on get ridding yourself of negative thoughts, that's okay. But you want to make sure the majority of what you're doing is affirming what it is that you want. And the reason why I say you may need to address and speak, okay, I am free of negative thoughts, because that is somewhat of an affirmative, because you're saying that you're free of that. But after you say you're free of it, you go right into the positive affirmations for it. And that is somewhat for me like how if you had it said that you can't do anything about something that you don't acknowledge. So if you have a problem or you have an issue or you have something that needs to be addressed or healed or whatever it is, you have to first acknowledge it. You have to first acknowledge that a problem exists. And so that's what I mean. Speak that part, but then go right into solution. Or in the case of acknowledging your issue, so you can do something about it, you acknowledge it, but you don't stay there and waddle in it and keep speaking your problem. You go straight to solution. You go straight to what it is you need to do to recover, heal, or address your problem, whatever that may be. That way you're putting yourself in the energy of and in alignment with what it is you're wanting to resolve, what it is you want to manifest, what it is you're improving. And so recently I came across somebody that said, I hate my life. And so to help them with that, I asked them first, do you want to hate your life or do you want to love your life? And they said they want to love their life. So I said, so now that you recognize that you hate your life, you need to start affirming that you love your life. So even in that, you still have to take actions and do things to love your life, but that's getting you going in the right direction. Because what we speak and what we declare, we put out into the universe, and the universe is going to respond to what it gets from you the most. It's going to respond to what's more dominant in you. So what your energy is, even again, if we point out our issue, we go straight to a solution. I am free of negative thoughts. I will not entertain negative people. I will only entertain positive people. I only attract positive people in my life. Positive thoughts is all I would give my attention to. See how that goes? You want to keep yourself in the flow of affirming what it is that you are desiring. And so another good point for that, another good example is how sometimes we say, I don't do that. Sometimes it's good to say, do this. Like instead of don't do that, like sometimes we're telling the child, don't run. Don't whatever it is, don't tear up the house. Don't make a mess. You want to speak the affirmative because all they hear is what you're saying don't do. It's like they say, if somebody tells you don't think about an apple, because they said apple, now you're going to think about an apple. Even though it was said don't do it, you're going to think apple. So that's the energy and what you're aligning with, the apple. So instead, if you say, well, say what you want them to think about instead of saying what you don't want them to think about. Say, think about this peach, so they can think about a peach. So when you say don't or not, that's in the opposite direction of where you're trying to go. So you always want to speak what it is you're wanting. If you're in a place in your career or your life, your job, your business, whatever it is where you're not happy and you're feeling led to do something more or better, or you have visions of what you want, you acknowledge, even if it's just within yourself, okay, I don't like where I'm at. I'm not happy with this career, with this job, with this business. And then you go on to speak what you want. I want a better business. I want a different career. I desire, you begin to speak what it is you want. And if it's something specifically, say you want to own a restaurant, a chain of restaurants. Say, I am the owner of a chain of restaurants. I am, and the thing about saying I am is that you're saying it as if it's already so. You want to be really careful even with that, with saying I want, because wanting something keeps you wanting it. All the universe hears you saying is that you want it. So you're just going to continue to want it. So that's why it's important to affirm it as if you already have it. I am wealthy. I am the owner of a chain of restaurants. I am a successful published author of several best-selling books. You affirm what it is that you're wanting. If your children are misbehaving, you want to be real careful with that. Even if you have to point out what's happening, because sometimes, again, we have to point out the issue, but then get straight to, my child is well behaved. My child is very well disciplined. And even in talk, you want to be careful with what you're sharing with other people. Let's say your child is misbehaving and they're aware of it because you mentioned it to them. Even though you mentioned it to them in a moment of just speaking of what the issue is, thereafter, even if they ask, how is your child doing? How is Johnny doing? You say, oh, Johnny is doing great. Even if Johnny is not doing great, you begin to affirm and speak what it is that you are desiring to see. You affirm the positive. You affirm your desires. You affirm what it is that you're wishing to manifest. In other words, you're really ignoring your reality and tuning in to what you're wanting to manifest. And because you're tuning in to wanting to manifest, that is what the universe is going to bring to you, what you're saying that it is. Also, you want to act like it's already what it is. Even in the midst of dealing with things and solving problems or whatever it is that you need to address, you even do that like you already have everything that you want, everything that you're manifesting. Aligning with is feeling the energy and being in that energy of what it is that you're wanting to manifest, what it is you're desiring. So when you're in there and you act all in there behaving and operating as if you already have it, the universe is going to respond. God, the universe, because that's faith. That's believing. That's saying you already know it's yours. Sometimes I have $2 and I'll be spending it. I'll go spend them $2 like I got $2 million with confidence, with excitement. Like, You think them $2 is $2 million to me. So I'm saying that to say you still spend and do the affirmative, what it is you're wanting, as if you already have it. But anyway, the idea is to speak what you want. Be careful about I don't have, I'm broke, I don't like where I'm at. Again, acknowledge that, but then do something about it and affirm what it is that you want. Something that just occurred to me is how I hear a lot of people saying that's expensive. That's expensive. I don't say that. I might say it's pricey. Or again, I might say, I need to work that. I'm gonna work that in my budget. I'm working that in my budget. Opposed to that's expensive. Because when you say it's expensive, that's sending out the message that you don't have enough to afford that. So if you're sending out the message that you don't have enough to afford that, guess what? It's gonna always be too expensive. You'll never be able to afford it. So if you're someone wanting to manifest greater, you're someone wanting to manifest wealth and riches and plenty of money, overflow of abundance, overflow of wealth, then you want to be careful about saying something is too expensive or something is expensive, because it's going to stay expensive. Rich and wealthy people don't say that. They don't say nothing is expensive because they got it. And how do you think they got there? They imagined and envisioned that they could afford it. They seen themselves affording that. I promise you, they didn't say that anything was expensive. They did what they needed to do, put themselves in the energy of, put their mindset in the energy of, and in alignment with what it is they wanted, so that they can be able to afford those things. And even if they at one point did say the wrong thing, they learned to say the affirmative, what it is they're wanting to manifest. Just like we're learning to shift our perceptions in what we're speaking, so that we can get what it is we're truly desiring. So I hope that makes sense. I'm gonna wrap it up right there. So if you like my video, please give it a thumbs up. Also, please click on that red subscribe button and subscribe to my channel. Click on that bell right next to that red subscribe button so that you can get a notification every time I upload a new video. You can also connect with me on Facebook and Instagram at Latricia Booker, and also on Twitter at Kingdom Business 9. That is Kingdom Business with one S and the number 9. And so you all, that is my time. So you know what that means. I'm out. Peace.